one quick thing. Have you ruled out running for president?
It's not in my plans, but I've not ruled anything out. I do hope that somebody runs on the Republican side other than the president, if nothing else, simply to remind Republicans what conservatism is and what Republicans have traditionally stood for.
And if you ran, would you only run as a Republican?
I think so.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was retiring Senator, who seemed retiring, Jeff Flake, arguing that a Republican should challenge Trump in 2020. But with Donald Trump sitting at 90% or close to its support among Republican voters, will anyone take him on? And that's my question to Charlie. Is there anybody out there beating the bushes now, looking around, Kasich, anybody who actually looks like they're getting ready to take him on?
I wouldn't be surprised if someone jumped in, and I don't know whether President Trump's going to get reelected, but I think they'll need dental records to identify whoever takes him on for the nomination.
Because
he'll pulverize him.
Pulverize him.
I agree, but I guess the only thing that would kind of lead towards a path would be if there was a big, strong blue wave in 2018 that allowed, that really used it to beat up the president, question his competency, have someone on the Republican side going out there.
Lose both houses.
Lose both houses. That could, the president will have a lot of different battles going on, and he will show, he won't have people rolling over for his agenda, and you can have another side of coming at him that potentially could work. It's a narrow thread, though. I don't know.
Jason, how about the normal business cycle? We're up now, we'll be down in 2 years. I mean, everybody acts like this is permanent, what we're doing right now.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Look, we are due for a correction in the economy. And when that happens, if it is mixed with a blue wave, if it is mixed with some key states being lost, you will have a Republican and possibly a Bob Corker, possibly a Mitt Romney saying, somebody's got to save us because this guy is taking us down the path to ruin. I think that's going to be the message. It's not.
Well, I wouldn't vote for somebody who voted for this tax thing that Trump put through and then saw an economic decline and claimed I knew better when you were part of the problem, because this tax bill is bad news.
Yes.
Really bad. I mean, Heidi, what do you think about that? Is it going to be a function of conditions? I think so, and I think there's always going to be somebody like a Kasich who says, you know, it's worth the risk to be the ratio at the gate or whatever, the bridge. I'll be the person that stood against Trump. In history, I'll look pretty good, like, say, Bill Scranton did back in '64, if anybody can remember him.
It's always a function of conditions, just like Mike Bloomberg was kind of waiting it out and making certain calculations based on whether Hillary ran. But let me just float an idea here. I don't think that just because a Republican throws his hat in, does a primary challenge, or runs as an independent, that it necessarily hurts Republican Donald Trump. And this is why. The demographic that is up for grabs right now are those suburban female Republican women. And if they're only given Donald Trump or the Democrat, and the Democrat is a more progressive candidate, then the person who gets their votes siphoned is the Democrat, not Donald Trump. So I don't think that we can say just because this person comes from the Republican Party that they're necessarily going to hurt Trump. It could actually hurt the Democrat.
I've heard that from someone I know pretty well, my wife, who's the Democratic Party chairman of Maryland. I heard that from her, that don't count on the moderate and the middle hurting the Republicans more. What do you think, Charlie?
No, I agree. I agree with that. But I simply don't think we're going to have a Republican of any real stature that would tip this thing one way or the other.
It's going to be weird, though, to see a guy like Trump with all his personal failings and weirdnesses, if you will, and personality oddities, they sweep through 20 or 30 primaries and caucuses without opposition.
Republican politicians are terrified of Donald Trump and terrified of his base. And the fact that none of them would really confront him, take him on. I mean, even when it came...
You know who says that? Trey Gowdy. Okay. They're all saying
but they don't even know how to even begin to take him on. Look what he did to 16 others in the last presidential primary. None of them knew how to deal with him. And it would have to be a Republican coming from probably the business community, but certainly outside the typical political structure, to really take.
But why does it work, Susan? Why does low-energy Jeb work? Why do these shots that we used to have in 8th grade on the playground at St. Christopher's, I mean, why do they work with grown-ups? Nicknames that he throws at people.
No, and it should work. I mean, and let's face it, the Republican, if you care about the Republican Party, you actually look at the political autopsy from 2012 and you say that is the direction, and Donald Trump is just something that none of us can make sense of. Yeah. But the party's got to go back in that direction in order to be successful.
going to keep trying here. Up next, it's been reported that Mike Pence considered a coup.